G'day, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Encounters Down to Live. Great to have you with me. Thanks for joining me. Great to have you here. I hope everyone had a great Chrissy just gone by there in 2025. It's very busy and chaotic, as Christmas usually is, and during the holiday season. But either way, it was great. I hope you had a great time spending time with your families and whatnots. Had a few things happen over the last few months here. It's been pretty chaotic, but anyway, we're back into here doing this thing again here, and it's big changes for the podcast or channel so far. We're going to be branching out to a bit of a paranormal sort of side of things there. If you ghosts and yowies and some sort of like cryptid sort of experiences there, we're going to be listening to people's encounters and of that sort of nature. So it's going to be really good change for the podcast to branch out, because usually we try and focus on the UFO side of things there. But it's going to be good bit of a change after this, because so it's a whole another world out there instead of just UFOs. But look, we're going to open up this year's season of the podcast channel with the 60 years of the Tully Nests there. And I've got Shane, who's joining me tonight here to go and talk about the past 60 years and whatnot. But so look, let's get Shane on here. And here we go. Oh, Shane, here he is. G'day, mate. How you going, Shane?
Good, mate. How are you tonight?
I'm going good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm loving life.
That's good, mate. That's great news. That's excellent, mate. Like, it's as of tomorrow, because tonight is the 18th. Tomorrow is going to be 60 years of encounters for you, basically, because it's been 6 decades of just phenomenal happenings in your area there, mate. Like, how do you feel about this, mate? Like, it's a long time.
It has been a long time, and as I said to you before, it's been time for me to tell people what happened here. Everybody read bits and pieces in papers and heard news reports, but they didn't tell the real story. So, yeah, it's time to tell the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I've got to admit too, like when we were sort of trying to track down your sort of location there, where the Tully Nests actually happened, even though like we sort of were aware of what happened, but we weren't aware of the full story and who was what and where and what. And like, it's a bit of a lack of investigation on my end and a few of the other lads there, because like we got our stories crossed up, and like everything we were trying to search up gave us a little bit of different sort of highlights and stories, and it's chopping and changing around, going like, well, what's happening here? Like, we were bloody confused. Like, we're getting names wrong, we're getting stories like wrong, and then it's like we finally got to sit down and talk to you, and then we got the full story right. It's like, all right, now we know what's going on. So look, if you don't mind, please, mate, like go through and basically start it off for us, if you don't mind.
Well, I remember you guys out the front of the house wondering, was it me? Was it this the place, or wasn't it the place? Well, 60 odd years ago, something changed our lives, and I was a little kid then. So the thing is, when you talk to farmers are pretty straight down the line, pretty level-headed. So when George Pedley told us what he had seen, we knew he was telling the truth. So we had to go down and start looking at this, what he had seen. And that's when we went down that night, evening, late afternoon, saw the nest. George stayed for dinner that night, and then early morning he was back out, and then we started looking at it. I remember Dad going in there and swimming under the nest or the marking and trying to figure out what it was. So I know he did go and approach the local authorities to come and investigate. But unfortunately, we know the story, what happened there. Powers that be, mostly ASIO, just didn't want the story to get out. So a lot of heartache. So it's hard for me to explain what the feeling was there, but it's easy for me to say, as a kid and young, as a teenager, young adult, and adult, I saw all along the way proof of markings of UFOs, because I was mostly the one who walked through flood waters and everything to go and check the lagoon and find the markings there. No actual craft, but markings. So we just kept it quiet. And as I said in the first podcast, that we did have a movie camera set up there. It did go off. It was set to electromagnetic fields. Those days, Super 66, the film had to be developed, was sent away through the Tully post office, but ASIO had their man placed in the post office and he intercepted it. From there, I do know that Stan Sears, who was in charge of the UFO Association, tried his darndest to get his hands on that reel of film, but wasn't successful. So a lot of heartache for me. You come out and tell a story like this, where people will say, well, where's the proof? Well, the proof is in the people who came and saw the markings for themselves. So it's a hard thing to stand up in public now and say, this is what happened on this farm. And fair is fair. There are going to be people who will not believe it, and there are going to be the people who do believe it. So I'm just telling a story of what happened on this farm for 60 years. And as you know, that I am going to try and, well, I am selling the farm and retiring. It's time to get off here. So when I leave, I hope whoever takes the farm on doesn't destroy what's down the back there.
Yeah. Because it's a lot of history there. And as you know, like I've tried to go and put a petition out there so far, trying to get support there to try and, try and make this a bit of a national treasure where you're located, because it's a historic moment in time. Like it caught a lot of national interest, international interest. It started these guys over in the UK there to go and start making their own crop circles. It's had a lot of inspiration in that regards. Like, yeah, okay, they got the fake ones, but this one here that happened initially, like people want to try and deny this was a reality. Like you said when the Australian Air Force came in there and trying to investigate into it, then trying to say it as like it's a whirly, or trying to explain it away as something like that. It's like, have a look at this location, guys. Like a whirly moves across the fields. It doesn't sit in the one location, and I've never seen a dust devil or a mini tornado creating markings like that in the one spot. It doesn't happen. Let alone the fact that sorry.
They got to understand that main first marking, that was the biggest marking that was in that lagoon, and it was in the middle of the lagoon. There was nothing going into it, nothing coming out of it. Directly underneath the marking, the grass, it was just clear mud, and just where to the outside diameter of the circle, you had to push your way through the bulrushes to get under there, and then it was all clear. The nest itself, was like it was woven. It wasn't a mangled mess. So just the fact that there was nothing, no marking, no track into it or out of it, it's baffling.
Yeah. And like, what would inspire George to even attempt something like this? Like what I've got the footage up there now with a bit of drone footage, and I think it's pretty much where I probably better off putting it on the as a share screen. Give us a minute, because then I can use the cursor and that. Like it's deep in the lagoon there. Like it's going to be very difficult to go and try and weave some reeds together. You've got
to remember that the lagoon was full of water. It was over your head. So how? I don't know how you would do it, and I don't know how you'd make a perfect circle underneath. There was just mud. There was no reeds or anything underneath that marking. and the rest of the markings that happened all through the years were the same.
Yeah.
So
Hang on, I'll just get this up. And yeah, which one is it? That one? This one here? There we go. So, all right, so if I click play, and hopefully it's going to work. Nope. I love technology sometimes.
I'm pleased you're having trouble.
Yeah, no, it's never just me though. It's never just the other person. This quite a common thing. It's not actually playing, but at least people can sort of see. I think this is roughly that location there. Is it where the cursor is? I think you can see it.
Well, now, when you see the vegetation, the trees on the bottom of the frame, they weren't there. All the bank of the lagoon, in that main area around, was all treeless. So right. I've spoken to some people, and before the festival comes, we're going to try and make it somewhat like it used to be.
Yep. It's slowly moving. I'm having a bit of trouble with the frame rates for some reason, but it's worked a little bit.
Now you've got to remember that lagoon was full of water, and you stand in the middle of that lagoon, and the water is over your head. So that pontoon, that marking was floating. So as a kid, I definitely could stand up underneath it and swim around.
Yeah, that should be a bit better. Look at that. So there. Now apparently the craft actually hit this tree here, was it? I'm pretty sure. This big main tree here.
There was one tree where it's singed.
Singed it right.
So the heat, there must have been heat, because the tree up a couple of the trees that were overhanging a bit was they come out a couple of days later as they were dying, the singed, like they were burnt.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's hard to, as George said, it rose up above the tree line, just above the tree line, tilted, kind of hesitated, and then bang, gone.
Yeah, all in a matter of 5 seconds or so.
Yeah, so I do believe that the world had developed flying craft like that that could do that. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it was. He just shook his head and said, "I must have been seeing something," because all of a sudden it was a flash. It was gone, bang. So, being a farmer bushy, he just went. He had to go through our farm to get to his. He went to his humpy, his little shed he had, made a cup of tea. Then it got the better of him. He came back, and that's, I don't know how long after he came, but he came back, and the water had stopped swirling, and there was the nest there, the marking. So George being George, he had to tell Dad, so he basically waited all day till we got back from down the beach. So
that's because you got late that afternoon, wasn't it? You got back or something like that.
Yeah. So he, I don't know the actual whether he went straight to our place or what happened, but I do remember as a kid seeing George sitting on the front steps of the house, and George never did that. He used to leave his tractor in our shed, and he had an old Bedford truck he used to drive out and drive home with. He never waited around to talk, unless he came in for a cup of tea, but he sat there all day waiting. So something,
that's a long time to wait, because that happened about 9 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it? Around that time.
Yes. So he had a lot of time to contemplate this.
Oh, I was about to say, he would have had a lot going through his head there, like trying to justify what he'd just seen, like.
And George is level-headed. He would have been saying, well, people are going to think I'm stupid. If you had met George, you would understand exactly what I'm saying. And he's just straight down the line, that man. straight down the line, and a very kind person to talk to. If that's explaining anything to him about him, he's a gentleman.
Yeah. It's just
So,
I guess they got to live through the 50 years of this altogether. But the shame we couldn't get them on the 60 years. But as time goes by, we lose a lot of people and a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience over these years. And this is just one of those treasured moments that we've lost in time, and hoping to preserve it. But
well,
it's like as you said, like a lot of emotion has gone through these decades, and it's
it has. When you get ASIO intercepting your mail and checking through your mail, did they tap our phones? Obviously, they would have. Had the two people or three people bivouacked in the next property, so watching us day and night. That's the lengths that the government went to, but not once did they pick up the phone and come and talk to us or talk to Dad or George properly.
yeah.
Their only attitude was to discredit them. So, especially when Dad went and went through the right channels to say, there's something happened here, you need to come and have a look.
Yeah.
We need to talk. And if you knew my father, he was ex-military. He'd been through a bit, but one of the most honest guys you could ever meet. He just genuinely wanted to know what it was. So same as George. Sorry.
Because as you'd expect, you'd expect some sort of government or some sort of investigators to come in there and explain what you've got or have some sort of answers, or hopefully trying to figure out what the hell it was. Because as you say, George was sat there all day going, "What the hell have I just seen? Like, is this real? Like, am I dreaming this? Is this reality? What the hell have I just seen? That, or should I have not seen this? It's
Well, what would you feel if it could have been I could have seen something, and you drive past and you look back in the lagoon and you see a nest up there now, floating on all the reeds floating on the water, just in that circle, nothing into it or out of it, no smashing of anything. You've got to start questioning and saying, well, what is this? But apparently the government, the armed forces, were only hell-bent on making a show of it, discrediting it, instead of sitting down and saying they had every opportunity with Dad and George to go there without anybody knowing and to have a look. But they didn't do it. They still don't do it, probably. I don't know. And having listened to the Americans talking, they're the ones who are making inroads in all of this. And their government have admitted things. So, come on, Australia, where are we with this?
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part too. Like, America is taking the reins on everything that's coming into UFO disclosure and such like that. And Australia is like, no, we want nothing to do with this, or they've been told not to go anywhere near it. And that's extremely frustrating when this is a worldwide phenomenon. What right do the Americans have to go and take control of this sort of phenomena? That's not fair.
Well, our people didn't want to turn up to the 2024 meetings, get together of intelligence groups with the 5 speaking nations.
Oh yeah,
and it was all about this. They're reopening it up because the Americans, those 3 American guys, just really gave it to Congress there, and they had to admit, yes, we do have a crashed UFO from the 50s. Yes, we are trying to reverse engineer it. A lot of things come out. Yes, we do have footage from your jets trying to, hunt these things down. They got it all there, so they couldn't. And these guys were the people sitting in their jets, jet fighters, chasing them. So they knew they couldn't discredit them.
Yeah.
But in Australia here, some of the stories that some people told me what government departments have said and what they've written. You have a look at some of the old write-ups. It's just, knowing and being through what I've been through, and I read some of them, I thought, you've got to be crazy that people would believe that. Well, I was only young in those days, and I suppose if the authorities said that, then the authorities were right. So I don't know where a lot of people stand on this. And I suppose that's why I came out before I do retire to say, well, do you understand this is what really went on here? And I'm sure that the government departments have kept their surveillance on this farm. They wouldn't have stopped, especially when there's still been sightings and things in the air. So why don't they just come? I'd just like the head of ASIO to come and sit down and have a cup of tea with me and have a talk. I've said that time and time again. It's not a threat to them. It's an invitation to come and talk and be sensible but honest.
Yeah, be open and transparent about everything that's happened or everything that they have.
Yeah,
because you guys deserve answers. You do.
Well, I know what Dad went through here, what lengths he did with Stan Sears in the UFO Association of Australia, and it's not a joke walking through floodwaters to go and every day to check up if there's a marking there, if they've landed. And, I did it with him. After he couldn't do it, I took it over and did. And it's some mornings you wake up early in the morning, you think, I don't want to go down there, the mosquitoes for one. But you did it because we just wanted to know. Just wanted to know what was going on.
Because this kept happening throughout the decades, didn't it? And I think you said like maybe about 12, 13 years ago, it actually kind of stopped. Like you're getting odd ones here and there in different properties in the surrounding area as well.
Well, the other properties, they stopped for a long time before that because they were all opened up or the lagoons were filled in. But about 13, 14 years ago, I saw that was the last marking. It was a cigarette-shaped marking. And that haven't seen one since, which, well, you've seen the place around the farm. Everything is been put into cultivation. So all the tree and rainforest has been knocked down. So it's not secluded anymore.
Yeah. Has anyone like sort of jumped out with a drone at all to try and survey these surrounding properties there to see if anything has popped up since?
Well, most of them, a lot of the lagoons that I used to know of have been filled in. So it's, and then they're draining. They're doing more and more extensive draining, which I don't know why they've allowed them to do that, because you only get water there during the wet season, the flood. So once the water's up, you're not going to drain it anywhere. Yeah. So I remember saying to you, Stan and I, old Stan Sears and I were talking, and he seemed to think that they were policing and watching us. Well, we haven't done too well with the way we've been preserving our land and this earth, because we smashed down stuff. We try and grow crops where we shouldn't be growing, and we're not really doing things that well, really. People will get upset about me saying that, but we honestly got to admit we're not doing it as well as we should be. So I don't know. Well, at the moment, I told you that the lagoon's about half full. You know, we've had some rain and everything. It should be a brimmer, but because of drainage and stuff, the water table's not getting up as high and holding up as high as it used to, which is fine for farming. But I'm wondering how much impact we are having on this land around here. on nature. So, and I'm a farmer. I shouldn't be talking like that.
Yeah. It's all about the
But
money, not the environment.
yeah, well, Dad was the first farmer greenie that I ever knew of. He loved the vegetation. He left it all around. It's still there. I've left it the way he developed the property. And if you walk through the lagoons, you'll see why he left them. What, he knew the benefits of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, we could have gained a couple more rows of cane, but at what cost? So, I as I said, I don't think we've been doing it as well as we should be.
Yeah.
And I think they were watching, seeing what we were doing. Because from the first landing to now, there's been a lot of developing of land and smashing down native forest scrub and all this, filling in billabongs and lagoons to try and make a paddock. It's I don't know. Are we doing it right?
Because I'd like to think if they are coming to try to survey, or for whatever reasons they're coming in there to visit, like, you think they would like try and make some sort of obvious contact on, hey, you're doing something wrong here, and try and like sort of guide you a little bit. Like, I'd like to think they would, but
Well,
who knows?
could you go to the government now and say, hey, I don't agree with that?
You can
Could you
try to, whether or not they listen or not, that's another thing.
No. Well, the other thing is too, they may not want them to know that what they're doing.
Yeah.
Look, the universe is a very, very big place.
Hmm.
I'm sure Earth isn't the only planet like ours in the whole universe. There's got to be umpteen thousand more planets all around. And do we think we're the only ones here? Now, I'm religious, and I yes, I do believe in the God. What I'm saying is God just would not have just made us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're very naive if we think that we're the only ones. But that doesn't mean that we don't respect and believe in him. So I just get the feeling that we need to take this on different angles, looking at it at different angles, instead of having the government attitude of tell the people nothing. That gets us nowhere, especially when social media is so prominent these days.
Yeah.
They're clinging on to old attitudes and ways when it's been left far behind. So, people want their governments to be honest, and there's going to be a lot of disappointed people.
Oh yeah.
That, and yeah, sure, the government will not like me talking about them like that, but hey, if you want to know how you can better yourself as a government official, listen to people, start understanding where they're coming from, what they're wanting to know, what they're upset about, what they're happy about. It doesn't seem to be any of that going on anymore.
It hasn't for a long time.
No. So, but getting back to the UFO situation, it's going to be very interesting in the next 5 to 10 years to see how America leads the charge, because I know the other 4 English-speaking nations agreed straight off to join them, but the Australian, intelligence, do you call them intelligent? Well, they dragged the ball. Well, they dragged the ball, but they ended up turning up to the 2 meetings begrudgingly with their tails between their legs. So, come on, let's grow up here. Let's start acting adult.
Yeah,
But
grown ups. Yeah, like see, if they started off with transparency and saying, "Hey, look, we have some things here that we don't quite understand, but we are trying to figure it out." There has been no there's no signs of aggression. Nothing there's trying to like take over the world or anything like that. And they said, "Look, yeah,
no,
like, we're trying to figure out who they are or what they are, and we're hoping to try and communicate with them, but we just know there's something here. There is something there." I'm pretty sure the world would have gone, all right, so something is there. Like, how are we going with that? Like, we still trying to figure out what's going on here, like what's happening. Instead of just going, hey, nothing to see here, guys. Just go back to your normal lives and keep picking your noses and scratching your asses, or whatever. There's nothing here. Just go back doing whatever you're doing. Like, so I think
it,
transparency from the get go would have been a lot easier than what is today.
well, Dad offered it. Dad offered it. He pleaded with them to come and have a look,
Mm.
and instead he copped their little games. So they discredited everything, but they got no answers to anything. Have they got a real agenda or a direction? They even got the noses of the other four English-speaking nations
Yeah,
out of joint. So who do we think we are, Australians? I mean, we need to up our game. We need
yeah,
to
we
up
do.
our game. And the way we can up our game is to have knowledge, working with other people, and start cooperating. For goodness
Yeah,
sakes. I went for a drive around the farm yesterday, and I thought, yeah, the cane's doing well, but we could be doing a lot better.
yeah,
We're not really looking, we got to put more and more fertilizer on. We you know what I mean? I remember when Dad was only putting half the amount on and growing bigger tonnage.
yeah. Wow.
Yes, the ground was fresh, but what I'm getting at is, are we looking after this planet?
Yeah,
You know, all the wars, every time they shoot missiles and things, there's all radioactivity and everything going on. So I can see where in the next century we're going to be in trouble if we keep on going the way we are. We can't
yeah.
keep
Because
doing it.
everything these days is meant to be sustainable. That's
Well,
the big word of the corporate world. Sustainable.
have you ever seen a corporate company sustainable or last in one particular area? Like, they move on when they've depleted that one, they move on.
Mm.
Yet if you get the individuals working together, I'm talking about communism, I was just talking about the farmers, how we used to be. Everybody helped everybody else to make sure that production was there, that livelihoods were kept.
Yeah,
It's all different now. It's just suck that place dry and move on.
yeah.
We haven't done it very well. So
No, that's where it makes it like worse for when people were trying to come forward about their encounters and their experiences or share something that have some sort of credibility to it there. And as you're saying, like everything's just all too busy with corporate and commercialization and shit like that, and the economy. Like, no one gives a rat's ass about the little things that have been happening to the people around the world. But and like I was saying it before, like this is a worldwide phenomena, but governments don't care because they're too busy trying to fill their own back pockets or trying to go somewhere that's not even involving UFOs because no one wants to borrow because like we're all meant to be apparently wacky, crazy people. They're like, why talk to us? Like we don't know anything. We're just people who think aliens are real, which what was it, bloody 7 years ago now, or a little bit further. No, where are we going? Nearly not far from 10 years, I think. Maybe eight years where the US government said, UFO crafts are real, some sort of extraterrestrial beings or something. Someone is here, but yet we still didn't give a rat's ass of what's going on around this world. And coming back to your history there, 60 years on, and then even further, like this is back in World War II, they were seeing these things.
Yes.
It's 100 years nearly of something flying around our skies that we still don't understand, and the governments don't want to jack shit of it.
No, they don't want to know. I remember taking Dad to the only UFO conference down in Brisbane, and we got there, and he was well known, and just about stampeded us to get his autograph. But anyway, he was sitting down having a cup of tea, and I said to him, "I'm going to go into the conference room, this big lecturing room, and see what's going on in there." And it was a South American giving a talk about all the UFO sightings and things that went way, way back and everything. But he had never, ever been involved or seen one. He was a story. But the stories were true because they had documentation of stuff.
Yeah.
But it got me that this guy was making oodles of money going around the world telling these stories, but he was a storyteller. He was a professional storyteller, but couldn't give any substance to any of it. There's plenty of people walking around, like in Tully, you would have seen the ABC podcast, how many people come out of the trees to tell what they'd seen. There's plenty of people around the world who've been amongst it, who can tell the real stories, but no one's game. No one's game to do it. Because
it's sad, really.
It is sad because I thought we were getting into, we were past the dark ages, but we still cling on to them. We don't want to open our eyes and start moving forward. And the thing is, when we still keep on having wars on this planet the way that we're having them, we will never move forward. No. Never. So, as I said to you when I first met you, was that old Stan used to say that he felt they were kind of a police force, or they were surveillance on us. Well, if they're watching us all this time, wouldn't it be a sad story about how we can't get on with each other on this earth? How we try and kill each other? I mean, would you give technology to a planet that does that?
Yeah, that's right. No way.
You can't. You can't. And the people who are our leaders are the worst offenders.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to be around to see it. But people need to start talking about this, and they need to start getting along with each other. Otherwise, we're going to suffocate ourselves on this planet with all the garbage, all the bombs and shit that we're blowing at each other up with. I just try and put my, put my bum in the seats of these aliens looking down on Earth and say, well, what do you see? What do you really see? What's happening on this planet? It's not very good, is it?
Oh shit, no, absolutely not. I'm just surprised we actually haven't nuked ourselves yet. I thought we were a couple of years ago when China and Russia were going to come into it, and but surprisingly we're still here. And it's like, well, what's really going on? Like it's like they're nearly at each other's necks, like ready to go and push the button again, as far as I was aware. But yet here we are.
Unless there's intervention that we don't know of, I don't know.
That's that's really what it looks like. There's either intervention there, or there's a shadow government that's actually really pulling the strings and going, "Hey, you guys going to have a little bit of a tiff over here, and you guys have a tiff here, but nothing's really going to happen. But we're going to make it look like you guys are having a bit of a tiff, but everyone's all hugging and kissing each other behind closed doors." So who knows? Who knows?
Can you see that happening? I can't.
I don't don't know. I wouldn't put it past it the way this world goes. You know, there's a front there. I reckon there's definitely a front.
The question that people are going to start asking themselves about all the UFO sightings and things, especially this, I ask myself all the time, what do they want? What are they doing?
Hmm.
You know, they're obviously way more advanced to us. What do they see? Are they testing us? Are they checking us out to see if we can move into the next level of integration in the universe, or what's it all about?
Yeah.
So,
That's probably the hardest question of them all. Was like, why are they sitting so far away observing us? You know, some people can see them, some people don't. Like, what's part of that? Like, you know, they've landed in your farm for whatever reasons. They're, you know, they're just what are they doing? What is their bloody intentions? And everyone wants to try and say like, oh, you know, they're trying to communicate with humans there to try and enlighten them and bring them up as a higher being and sort of bring like a world peace or something like that, and work together and that. And it's like they're doing a horrible job when you think about it, because the humans have been around for thousands of years, working up from the Middle Ages there up into the World Wars. And where was the intervention there to go, hey, look, look, just calm down, guys. Like, you shouldn't be fighting each other. It should be love and peace and working together and blah blah blah. But it never
maybe
happened.
maybe they're living under a code where they're not allowed to intervene. You know,
Well,
you
that's
got to
always
think
another thing
about
that's come. So yeah,
it's against their code. We've got to prove ourselves that we're adult enough, we're mature enough, we're intelligent enough to be able to move up the ladder. At the moment, we're not. We're failing dismally. How many people in Australia are starving or are homeless?
yeah,
Should they be? We're supposed to be a wealthy nation, but we're
oh, that's
not.
right.
We can't even look after our own. So how can we go into something like that with other universes and other planets, other beings? We
Yeah.
can't even accept our own.
No, that's right, and
So,
that's where I also feel like early intervention and guidance would have made us a lot more cooperative, I suppose, like a lot more peaceful. Like, you might get the old bad egg every now and again, but like do whatever you got to do with those, I suppose, to keep the
yeah,
normality and the peacefulness. But if we were incorporated into, say, growing up with knowing there's extraterrestrial beings out there, have that potential or have the capabilities of this technology, and they sort of like shared it with us and guided us, and like we'd be a completely different race.
well,
Of
or
beings on
we
this
may
planet.
have annihilated each other.
Well, exactly that. It's like, well, it can either
You know,
guide them.
there's always the flip side to it. Always, with a human being, there's always a flip side.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there is.
Unfortunately, yes, they could have done it, but they also could see if it had gone wrong.
Yeah,
We really need to grow up. We really do. We need to get on with each other, and we need to work together. There shouldn't be any hunger or people living out in the cold at all on this earth. We can't even look after our own. So how can we justify going into something with interplanetary beings?
yeah.
So
As well.
the question's got to be thrown at government, saying, if you can't get along with each other and we can't stop wars on this planet, so how do you expect us to move into the future?
Yeah, how can we ascend to a higher being?
Exactly. We've got to all come together and say enough is enough and change direction for the better. Until that happens, I don't think we're going to go anywhere. We're going to be
I put
dodged.
it under the thought process of, like, we actually need like a one world leader sort of thing, not multiple countries. It needs to be under a sort of a one rule. I know how it sounds horrible, but when you have so many little different children ruling different countries there, of course it's going to be like a little kindergarten and everyone's wanting to pull each other's hair. There's no peace there.
We're still living an archaic way of governing or you know what I mean. We got countries, we got in that we got Europe, but it's split up into so many little empires.
Yeah.
We're still living that. So when you keep living in the past, you will never walk into the future. So we need to educate ourselves to being better. We need to talk to each other and work together to be better. But as long as you've got governments and people splitting you all up apart, it'll never happen. So begs the next idea, which Stan and I threw. Well, he threw it in as well. We always you always have a white and a black side. So is there another element of these beings that are trying to create that situation of abruptness, of splitting countries up, and you know? So is there that element? And these guys are on I don't know, a universal warfare to annihilate the bad or something. I don't know. But
yeah, there's always been talks of like, you know, people always claim, you know, talking to different beings and such, and some are like they're supposed to be peaceful and guiding and such like that, but then it's like heaps of different races of these species of extraterrestrials that visit us and whatever. But then you got the stories like back in the late 80s into early 90s, and like throughout the 90s, people were getting abducted and stuff like that. And it's like, well, is that malevolent? Whatever the word is, you know,
yeah,
what's their agendas there of abducting people? Is they're trying to get a leg up on us, trying to figure out who we are? Are they hybridizing? You know, what's their agendas there to try and, you know, with abducting people, or you know, it's very strange on what is doing or who is doing what, and if there's these multiple species.
yeah. It's you know, we haven't got the intelligence to work it all out. We really don't have that intelligence. It's there, but we can't use. How much of our percentage of our brain do we actually use? It's only a small percentage.
Sure.
Okay. I believe the difference between us and these aliens is that they use a lot more percentage of the brain. So they have got the ability then, they've been able to discern it all. We don't. We're still in this love-hate, this good and bad arena. We seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need to step out of the arena, but we won't. We're not allowed to do it. We're all kept in there so that we're easily led or, you know, directed. That's fine, but that's an archaic thing as well. But the only way you're going to get out of that is if people start talking, coming together, and start being positive about all this. You know, it's the same as being truthful about all the sightings and how many aircraft, Air Force jets have had to chase these things. Tell people, let it out. Let people start to understand that we're not the only ones around, and that we need to be as one, not split up into little fragments. So
No, that's right. I believe once we do sort of, you know, actually physically see something that's, you know, of extraterrestrial nature or something from otherworldly, whatever, I think that will sort of unify us in a sense, because I think people are going to be scared and start becoming a bit more reliant on each other and go, hey, look, we need to work together. What are these things? Well, I think they already know what they are anyway, but, you know, in the sense that the government doesn't know, you go, oh, look, there's some sort of alien craft here coming in to maybe invade us, blah, blah, blah. We need to work together now. And that's where it's sort of going to unify the world together, and that might bump us up a bit.
The thing is, to put fear as your only tool of getting people together
Mm.
is archaic, when we need to show that we're intelligent. The first thing that as a human being is, if we see a snake, we've got to kill it. We've got to destroy it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a barbaric old mechanism. We need to move mentality. Yeah, we need to move past that. We need to move way past that, actually, because if you have that attitude, you're going to do things that are wrong. You know what I mean? We'll kill a snake because it's a snake, but that snake kills a lot of rats in the paddock.
Yeah.
So, because I was frightened of that snake, I killed it. We got to stop that fear. We got to understand where all these things fit in together. That's the biggest thing. I sit down and look around, even in everyday things in the farming and everything. We got wealthy farmers, and I don't begrudge them, but I do begrudge how some people do get their wealth at the expense, and there was no need for it, but they had to have it. So we've got to get past that mentality. If
you'd think after 1,000 years we'd have that sorted by now.
Well, you would think, but if it's there, it's still there. It's still prevalent. It's prevalent. We don't trust each other. We get upset. We don't want them to have more than us. We're jealous because we got to get past all of that. We've got to start growing up.
Yeah, because these all these other countries could have all this amazing technology that could cure starvations, cancers, power, unlimited power. Everyone could be living in homes together. There would be no need for this bloody homeless people, and not needing to work 12-hour jobs every day. We could have an easy life, but for whatever reason, these countries want to hold on to go, hey, no, we can do this stuff, but you can't. So we're going to wait till what you have before we go and show you what we have, sort of thing. It's a stupid mentality. It is. It really is.
Well, the thing that is driven by is money.
Yeah.
Everybody has this attitude that you got to be wealthy, you got to have this, it doesn't help you if you're sick. Money, you can have all the money in the world, but if you got that diagnosis of a bad cancer or something else, it ain't going to help you.
No, that's right.
But the people around you and the support, it's hard to explain. We've got an energy around us. Everything on this planet's got energy around us. And that energy can be channeled. All right, you might save somebody's life, but it's the cocoon that's put around those people of feeling better, of feeling wanted, of feeling loved, of all that type of stuff. We've pushed all that aside. We don't use it. We just got to go and buy a bigger gun or a bigger battleship or a bigger. It's ridiculous. We're frightened of each other.
Yeah, no, it is. And like a lot of people want to, myself, oh, look, money does create some sort of happiness. I've heard it says money doesn't bring happiness. I'm sure it brings a lot of happiness for a lot of people, But we are, we're sort of forced and denied a lot of the prosperities that life can give us there, in order to go and maintain a control over us, because we're so driven to go and, as you're saying, the governments want their bigger boats or bigger weapons and whatever, but we as the population, we're driven to go and get the next new big TV or the next new phone. We've got so much driven there to go, and that's our livelihoods, where we're missing the bigger picture of what the world can potentially bring us, instead of what corporations can give us.
Well, it's about keeping people apart. They don't want people to be together in one, because that creates a problem. But
It does.
Look, it's the same as years ago. They were selling up the mill here. It was a farmer-owned cooperative mill, but you split the people up. You don't let them get encouraged and join together, because when people have a common direction, they'll steamroll the opposition.
Yeah.
So, and I see that more and more. Australia is full of it. We haven't moved that much further than the first fleet coming here, eh?
No.
We need to grow together as a nation, not as a split community. We need to grow together, and it won't happen as long as you've got governments giving certain areas of our people benefits and things to get votes.
Yeah. No, I know you're getting at, without trying to make it a racial thing, because it's not about the racials or different races that are in Australia. It's nothing to do with that. Everyone just wants a fair go, fair. What do you call it? Everything fair across the board. No special benefits or anything like that.
When you talk about the Aboriginals, our family were close to Aboriginal community. They used to take me out. The tribe used to take me out fishing. I was only a 10-year-old white boy, but because Dad and my uncle were well respected by the tribe, and they respected them, that was the friendship. That was it. It was family.
Yeah.
They can carry on about, you treat the Aboriginals and you call them bullies. No, we never. We respected them. We got along with them. We helped them. I remember getting looked after by the old Aboriginal ladies, when we were out in groups and things. The media or the government don't want the people to see all that. There's a lot more love and things in this country than what's been shown. It's sad that governments use all these ploys. I'd just like to see them get back and have a real honest bloody election.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. It's just all dirty. It's all dirty now. So
it is.
And you know what? You want to get back to this UFO? They're seeing that. They're watching all this. So how in the hell do you expect them to come and accept us the way we are? We don't even trust each other.
Yeah.
So we need to work on who we are as a planet. We really do.
No, we do. And I lost my train of thought then. I went to something else. But it sort of reminds me a little bit of a meme there. It's like, they come in, they finally land and they show themselves to the people of the planet. And they go, "Oh, take us to your leader." And it's like, "Do we really want to take you to our leader?" Like, he's a bit of a drongo,
They're the last people you want to take them to.
It's like, "No, we don't want to take you there, mate. Come out over a beer at the pub, mate. Come and have a chat with us."
I reckon that's what they do like about us, that way. But they can see all this corruption and garbage that's going on.
Yeah.
They would have been here and been amongst us without us even knowing, and saw firsthand. Yeah, and saw firsthand what we're all about. And to be quite honest, if I was them looking through their eyes, I wouldn't be seeing very much good at all. There are fantastic people, but I'm talking generally. We need to fix up a lot of things. We really do.
And that's where I sort of feel like, the government's caused a lot of distractions in that regard too. Because when we're talking about the US bringing forward UFOs and something's potentially in the skies and whatnot, and investigating into it. Uh, I think it was not long after that COVID came into it.
Yeah,
Everyone got locked down there, and then straight after COVID, bloody the Russian and Ukraine war, and I was like, whoa, hang on, we've just come out of COVID, man. Like,
yeah. Do you,
it,
do you, do you, do you think it was those things are orchestrated?
it seems like it is. Like that's like I'm saying. Like it's like as if they're making distractions for us, so we can't focus on on the real issues or the reality of what is actually happening in our world. Because people are slowly waking up to government conspiracies. Like a lot of conspiracies are probably not true, but they since COVID they're a lot more questionable in regards to government's doings in a sense because COVID was an absolute rot. I feel, and I think a lot of people do. I'm probably gonna
Yes.
get in trouble on YouTube for saying that now, but you watch.
Well, I'm in agreement with you, and you want to get back to the UFO. If I was one of them, would I want to go and meet rubbish? That's all
No.
I can describe them as, because they are rubbish. They get rid of their own to benefit their own little self.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they're all about. I don't think it at all. And if you could take a picture of the world 30 years ago, this planet, and put it beside a picture of today of the whole planet, and you spun it slowly and looked at it all, you will notice that it has changed drastically in
Mm.
vegetation and everything.
Oh yeah.
Ozone layer, pollution. We're not addressing the basic problems. But we got plenty of money to go and bomb each other.
Oh shit, yeah. There's always money for that.
So we've got a real issue. Um, yeah, you and I probably get into trouble because we brought up governments.
Bugger 'em.
But they need to know that it's not going to be like this all the time. We're either
Yeah.
going to destroy ourselves completely, or you're going to have to change.
Yeah.
There's no in between. It's sad, but
It is sad. It is sad. So look,
but it's
before we finish up, because we're getting close to time here, I just want to go back to your home grounds, obviously. So look, 60 years. It's been a long time for you and your family there. Just want to run through, like, because obviously people will be coming in and out everywhere, trying to find where this happened there. Like, and I know when we spoke there too, like you had a lot of people coming in and out, just barging their way through your farm and destroying all this evidence that was there. Because like you mentioned that, like you found these imprints in the ground, and they're little footprints or potentially little footprints. Tell us about that.
yeah, they were little footprints. They didn't start from the edge of the paddock. Dad had just cultivated the paddock, and we were driving down there on the tractor. And because you're up high, he looked in. And he stopped and he said, "Can you see that?" And there was messed up ground in an area. So he walked in, and there were little footprints, but they were in about, I don't know, 20 meters in from the edge. There was no marks in or out. It was just in there, looked like digging, footprints around. They looked like little hooves, and couldn't explain it. It wasn't. There was a couple areas. So obviously they were taking samples of the soil because it looked like they was been dug up. Food for thought.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the little pictures there because oh, where have they gone? Oh no! I actually had some footage there of from Cheryl there when they obviously when Stan came up there and did everything there with you guys, and he actually had a drawing, an illustration of it. And I'm just trying to find it there, and like it begs the question, like they're actually literally coming out on the ground, or potentially coming out on the ground there, and grabbing things from the ground, like because she mentioned that they cut little some grass reeds, and that was chopped off a little bit there, and like was that a common thing to have them taking vegetation, or like most
No,
parts of
I,
soil disappearing?
I didn't know much about the vegetation, but they would have been taking samples. They would have been taking water samples, probably mud samples, reed samples. They would have been taking some samples of the trees, I suppose,
Yeah.
and the soil. Who knows? Do they need to revegetate their planet, or were they checking out to see if they could live on the planet, or were they checking out to see how much deterioration in the planet there was?
Yeah.
I don't. They just can't take one track in understanding or thinking what they were doing, because there could be something totally different. Don't know. But that's what we saw, what we found.
Yeah, hang on, I've got it just here now because it wouldn't want to load up through the other thing there, so I'll just do it this way. And that one there. When it wants to load up, and bango.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Prince appeared directly in front of the other, So I think I asked you a question too. Like it seemed like they were bipedal, didn't it?
Yeah, it
Uh,
what I
yeah.
saw was you can't tell because the ground was soft. You're just going off. They look more similar like that, but yeah,
But he reckons
I
that's
know
the front.
yeah.
That
I don't know. See, Dad, yeah, Albert.
Yeah, approximately 10 inches apart in plowed soil near the lagoon.
Yeah, yeah, and they weren't that big, eh?
Yeah, so only
He would,
10 inches, like footsteps 10 inches apart from each other as if they're
yeah.
each footstep.
So, so was it a big, or was it a drone, or was it a robot, or what was it? I remember talking to him about it, and him and Stan, and they said, "We don't know. We don't know. People say, well, yeah, but you must know. We don't. It's you, and those guys were more involved in it than me, because I was only a little tyke when it all first started. So they weren't going to tell us much because they didn't want us to have nightmares.
Yeah.
So as I got older, in my teens and that, early teens, was when I started. Dad used to and Stan would talk more. But see, they were pretty early in the stages. So I missed a lot of the conversation. I couldn't wasn't allowed to sit around. Little kids were to be seen and not heard. So,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oops. Hang on.
they weren't going to discuss a lot of things in front of us. So there's stuff that was probably more in depth spoken about, which would have been great to know now, but I was just too young. I just saw all these as I got older, and got more and more involved as I got older.
Yeah. Because
That was an
I asked a question
amazing.
to you too. Like, yeah, none of you's actually experienced anything like no abductions or anything being
No,
taken away or anything like nothing
no,
mental sort of telepathy or
no,
something like.
no, no, no. To me, they they weren't bad. I do know that they landed in the paddock just behind the house, where a bit before that marking.
Yep.
nothing. There was no. The dog used to go berserk. He used to, we used to know when they were flying over the top. The dog used to just jump up like it used to jump up the spray planes. So, and then we had that monitor as well that used to go off any time. But never felt threatened by them. Never felt threatened. What's this one up here you got? Oh, yeah. That's George. Looked like two saucers put together.
Yeah.
Still feel sorry for what George went through.
Yeah. And like, how'd it go with the community wise? And I know we've talked about this in the past before, and that like the community wise, like, did they attack him or did they start neglecting him? Or
No. We all knew George Pedley. George Pedley was the honest guy. He was straight down the line. So when he told the story of it, nobody jeered at him. No one put him down. So
that's good.
And matter of fact, years up, even a year before he died, 2 years before he died, I bumped into him in the supermarket, and we just started talking, and just casually just dropped any more visitors, and I said to him, no, not for a little while. So, but that's the way we used to talk. We all learnt to talk in code, which was a shame, but you would have been, you would have been amazed at the heyday of all the markings, how many markings fitted in that, how many times they landed in that lagoon. They even landed across each other's markings, and it was just
this is the way that everyone sort of reacted to the initial encounter. It would have put a little big dampener on reporting these extra ones that happened, like the ones that happened over the decades, the smaller ones, like because like it got reported slightly, but no one wanted to go and take coverage of it or even start to investigate. Go, hey, look, we've got something here. Go and check. Like you'd think someone would jump on that.
We stopped reporting. We stopped telling the public. We stopped telling anybody except CNCs, and that all really clamped down after the ASIO film incident, where we realised that they've been monitoring us, they've been watching us and everything. But there were a lot more markings and landings after that. Not big craft, probably half the size of the big one.
Yeah.
And smaller. And some of them were, after the floods, were in paddocks around there, in the paddocks themselves. So there's obviously an interest there. There were 3 or 4 small areas in the paddock, in front of the actual lagoon. When you looked at the lagoon, you turned around, there was a paddock there. There are 3 or 4 areas, small areas, where cane was growing, but not too well. So I did soil samples, and it was high in aluminium oxide in the area, and then outside of that area was no aluminium oxide. So obviously something had crashed there. I don't know. My assumption is there was a couple of crashes.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know, but it's after all the working the soil and everything. They'll probably still find it if they. I don't know. I worked up the soil, put other minerals back into it and stuff. So
So this should be the lagoon here, I'm pretty sure, because it's all from Cheryl herself.
That's the original.
Yeah. Who's that bloke there? You can make him out. Probably a bit hard to make out, but
no.
I think Cheryl might have mentioned who it might have been, but yeah, I can't quite remember myself.
I can't. well, hang on, that's not our place.
I think it might have been the other location. I can't quite remember.
That could have been outdoors.
Right.
That may have been outdoors. As I said, we used to go, people used to ring us up, we used to go and take samples. Water sample, mud sample, reed samples, inside and outside. And send them way down to CNCs and the Queensland University.
Yeah, because it just seems like a real wasted opportunity to go and be able to investigate what is happening here, what they're trying to get hold of. And as you see, like the government didn't want to have a single bar over there. They want to go and interfere with any sort of data or any sort of captures and stuff like that. And it's extremely frustrating and disappointing.
Well, they would have a lot of information, but our Australian government refused to release it, even though they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They don't do that, as far as I know, in the other countries, because America's in the next 8 or 10 years, they're going to release stuff. So our government's made no mention of that. They won't even talk about going to the meetings. Nothing. So, what's going on, Australia?
Yeah. Do you think the footage still exists that they got captured there that night?
Yeah.
Or do you think they might have destroyed it?
No, they still got it.
Still got it.
That's what I reckon. They still got it.
Well, I'm hoping whoever listening is like, from governments or wherever, and like, can actually put a foot in the door there to try and go, hey, look, I might know where this footage might be. I'm really hoping they can come forward with it and go, look, this is, what we've got. Because like, it's nothing to do with national security. There's no technological advancements here that, should be denying us this evidence here. Because like, as far as we know, it could be just a light in the sky and go, oh yeah, that's what they captured that night. And, it's like, okay, cool.
It was actually landed in the lagoon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if Asia will ever admit to it. I hope it's still alive. I hope it's still in good condition. They destroy it? They'd be stupid if they did. I don't think they're that silly. But as I said, I would really love to sit out the front table where we sat that afternoon.
Yep.
Have a pot of coffee there and a cake, and just sit there and talk.
Yeah.
And say, right, what do you know? Why have you got that film? Can I see it? I know Dad went to his grave upset that he never saw what was even to sit there, even if it was white, or just to have it in his hand.
Yeah.
Because that created a lot of heartache to him. There was a lot of hours and stuff that people put in to get that movie, that camera set up there, and to have that go off. And, to have that done to you, especially when the government wouldn't come and wouldn't sit down and talk to you. Yeah. That was the biggest insult to Dad. And I remember he used to say, I gave put my life forward for this country and this government, and yet they won't even talk to me. So, this is why I said our governments need to grow up.
Yeah, they do.
So I believe that film's still there and it has something on it. That's my gut feel.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping we can try and track it down one day and, eventually see it. I really do hope so. So, yeah, whoever's listening, even the government's like, we'll abuse them, and they might pipe up and go, hey, why are these guys abusing us? And it's like, well, hey, give us the bloody footage. We deserve it.
Yeah. You're hiding nothing anymore.
No.
It's all on the media. It's all, people got photos on their phones and movies on their phones of blokes moving. For goodness sakes, move into the century. Start talking to the people.
Well, for starters, Australia needs to get back into investigating into UFOs and UAPs again, as it is. Like, people are seeing things. A lot of it is explainable, but people are reporting things that could potentially be something that is in our skies that shouldn't be there because
Yeah,
we should be going under like our own national security. We deserve to be feeling safe and not scared of some objects flying around our sky defying our known capabilities. How are people supposed to feel safe if they're going? Well, we don't know what it is, so we need to be getting back on that sort of bandwagon in the Australian sense.
Adam, you remember when you were growing up as a little kid, what did your parents drum into you? To be honest?
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
the Australian government expects all the parents in this country to bring their children up there to be honest. But they can't be honest with us.
No, that's right. No.
That's sad to me. I am an Australian citizen, and I had to. I remember when I was living in New Zealand, I had to. Something happened. I had to go down to. Oh, that's right. The eldest daughter was only a baby then, and didn't have it. She had to have her own passport for us to take her home, and she's about 4 or 5 to bring her back here.
Yep.
So I went in. We went down to Auckland to go and went into the Australian embassy, and I wanted to talk to get a passport. The girl there brushed me aside, so I grabbed my Australian passport and I flung it under the glass there, and I said, "I'm an Australian citizen. I demand to see somebody in charge here." And an older woman pushed the girl aside and said, "I'm very sorry. Yes, can you come with me?"
Huh.
Now, if we're having that much trouble at that level, there's no wonder why we're having this much rubbish at the higher level.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of I don't know, retraining ourselves. We don't seem to be doing very well. And I remember my mother saying, you're travelling overseas, you've got an Australian passport, you are a representative of our country, so don't misbehave. So getting told that when I was a 19-year-old, your mother giving you a lecture about being on good behaviour because you're an Australian citizen. So where's that gone as well? So
yeah, that's right.
So you can understand now. I understand some of the young people. The government's got to stop being wishy-washy. The government's got to stop all this floundering around. And on this subject here, the government's got to come clean.
Yeah, be transparent on everything.
Yeah, we can't expect all the other 4 countries, English-speaking countries, to do it all, and we tag along behind and do nothing.
Yeah.
Which is virtually what they implied.
Yeah. Oh, we don't have a backbone. There's nothing there.
No. Well, you might see how much backbone they got after this interview.
Yeah, well, he's open. If they come and eat me up, I'll be like, right, cool, what do you got? Because you obviously got something up your knickers now, like you got some problem there, so, tell me what you've got. It's an invitation.
Please do let me know if they do.
Yeah, I've been waiting the day, because, the moment someone comes knocking on my door there and goes, hey, look, you've got some information here we need to go and talk about. It's like, oh, yeah, what have you got? Because what do you know?
Yeah. Exactly. They're not, they know stuff, but they're not telling.
No, I don't. It's a frustrating world we're living in. But mate, look, we're about to end it there because we're punched over a bit over an hour there now. It's so easy to do in this sort of topic there. But mate, look, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I appreciate it there. It's I can't thank you enough because 60 years of I don't want to say torment, but I guess in a sense it has probably been tormenting. Like you still haven't got the answers that your father and George have been trying to seek, after all these years, and we've still got nothing there. So I probably will go with tormenting because
it is. But as I said, it was time to let the general public know what went on here.
Yeah.
And we went through, and hopefully a lot more people, a lot of people have seen things, a lot more people will come forward. And I mean the genuine people. We don't need the nutters. We've got enough of them in government. So, but well, that festival's coming up this year. I'm looking. There's been a couple of names dropped to me, and I'm really excited about meeting them again. I'm excited about you guys and the school kids or the high school kids. I think that's going to be a real plus. And there's a bit of buzz around with the group in Cardwell to come and give me a hand. We'll tidy up and make the lagoon presentable. They do actually want to. I mentioned that I'd love to have a plaque. I was always thinking about putting a plaque up, but
Yeah.
talking about they might do it too, might do something. So that'll be nice. It's not
Absolutely.
for me. It's not for me because I'm only the kid. It's for George and Albert, really.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's like, but even still, mate, like, yeah, you might have just been a kid at the time there, but you still lived through all that. You know, you still got to deal with all the people gone through your yard and shitting into your bloody your fields and shit like, because they're trying to go and find where this happened and that, and hopefully see something for themselves. But you know, like it's still something you had to live through personally yourself there. So like it's a big combination of things there, mate, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Well,
I can't appreciate it enough.
I see it as the finale for me. It's
Mm.
the last act. It makes meaning to having done that for 60 years. So let's hope it gets something positive
Yeah,
out of
absolutely.
it. So,
And like
well,
as you said, like you know, you're already retired. The property's going to be going up for sale at some point. And you're just hoping that the person whoever buys it next doesn't demolish
no,
the lagoon. You know, like you want that preserved, and that's as I said before. Like I'm trying to achieve something there in a historical factor sort of sense. You know, trying to put a petition there and then put that forward to Queensland historical sites and have it as a registered sort of location in the Australian
yeah,
history there, which will then hopefully whoever buys it next will actually acknowledge that that is a historical location instead of going, "Oops, knocked it over. Oh no, now I can't do anything about it. Too late." You know, they actually
yeah.
want to
Well,
actually try and physically preserve it.
there's a lot of people that will just go in with the dozer and then wear the fine after, which to
Yeah,
me is irresponsible. And I hope I do not sell the farm to somebody like that who's
yeah.
irresponsible.
No,
So,
that's where we're hoping that, like, you know, it's yeah, like, there's not much you can do about it, but hopefully at least there's something in the clause there we can try and make note that
yeah. Well, the
this
government
site here was the
government can make it all happen.
yeah.
They can make it all happen. So anyway, we'll wait and see. The next big thing on my agenda with this is probably the UFO date in Cardwell. So I'm looking forward to that actually. So that's a big positive for me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great because we'll be back up there and go and get to see you again in person, which is going to be fantastic. And as you said, like you know, we're going to be getting really involved in the location there and try and make it a big note of the festival for it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So,
So if you're turning up, so how many batches of scones do I have to have Deb make?
mate, I love me scones. So make sure it's got jam and cream and a heap, mate, because I love jam and cream scones.
People
I
will think
absolutely love it.
people will think that's all we do here is imitate talking about it and just drink coffee and eat scones.
I pronounce it scones. It sounds a bit more fancy, you know. It's a
That's
fancy
awfully
farmer like
American.
you.
It's awfully Americanized.
Is it? You reckon scones is American? I thought it was English. The scones, you know. I don't know.
It's all good. It's all food.
It is. It tastes bloody great. It's an absolute ripper of dish. But mate, yeah, good luck, mate. Thank you again so much for coming and joining me again, mate. It's 60 years celebrating since the first encounter there with George Pedley. Um, so if anyone wants to go and see the full interview there with Shane, there where we first got to meet him, it's there on YouTube. There, I'll put some links in the show there and whatnot. But mate, again, thank you again so much there, mate. I'll talk to you in a sec there, and I'll just do me a little bit of end spiel here, and talk to you very shortly.
Okay, mate.
All right, thanks, mate. Talk soon. Thanks again, mate. Cheers.
See you, everybody.
Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it talking there with Shane. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to him again. And as I said before, the full interview there with Shane throughout the whole, start to finish there, it was an absolute ripper of an afternoon there. It's one of those 1 in a million chance there that day that we just came in, and Shane was just welcoming to go and bring us in there and have a big chat about it because, we were just on our own little bit of a hunt there to go and try and figure out where the hell this sighting happened, whatever, and where it's been happening. And we're all over the place, and a bit of a talking to a few locals that were passing by, and luckily enough, we got to where we were today. So, guys, check it out. I do have some dedication videos coming out very shortly for the Tully Nests in celebration to 60 years. But either way, look forward to them coming out soon enough. Don't forget, we are branching out into the paranormal and Yowie sort of aspects. So if you have some sort of encounter or someone do know who has an encounter with the unknown in that regard, send them my way. They'd love to have a bit of a chinwag with them there and get them on the show and pick their brain and talk about their encounter. Also, don't forget, we do have the online store there where you can purchase some awesome shirts like these ones here. Got some heaps of gear like that. Got some bumper stickers there. Actually, no, the bumper stickers. I think we're giving them away free now. So with every purchase there, you get a free bumper sticker. But we've got some shirts and some 3D magnets as well. And I've got some more merch going to come down in the track there too. So guys, if you want to help support the channel, jump on the online store there and grab yourself some ripper quality gear to go and wear around. It's pretty cool. Let's see if we've got some stuff on the back there. You can see they got that one on the back. It's a double side. It's cool. Anyway, I'm going to stop blabbering and leave you to it. So all the best, guys. And again, see you on the next Encounters Down the Live, and I hope you enjoy the new season for 2026. All right, all the best, guys, and see you on the next one. Catch you later.